Roger. Good job. Hello. Roger's part of our panel, so I've got the job of hosting this panel on fan engagement. And welcome everyone, and welcome to everyone who turned out today. Since you've already heard from Roger and from Jean, I'd like to start with Kim. Kim, as the Vice President for NASCAR, has been instrumental in what's called the Industry Action Plan. So I'd like to ask Kim to just walk us through a couple of points with the IAP.
So the Industry Action Plan, I should start by saying, thank you for a lot of our fans being here today. We are very fortunate to have one of the largest, most passionate and loyal fan bases in all of sport. And so we instituted a plan to make sure that we talk to those core avid fans, but at the same time, we want to make sure that we're growing the fan base. And coming out of that was a plan called the Industry Action Plan, which is looking just to make the sport basically healthier and stronger going forward. And it's really made up of a number of key focus areas. First is bringing in new fans that are younger and more diverse, particularly in the Hispanic audience. Another area is to really take a hard look at what we needed to do at our at-track or event experience, particularly with some of the topics we're talking about this morning, technology. Looking at our racing product and our cars that are on the track. Coming out of that was the Gen 6 car. How we get our fans closer to the drivers, an area called Driver Star Power. And then finally, using new digital channels to reach fans and make the racing experience better. So it's really that plan that is intended to grow the fan base, both for our avid fans, but also bring in new folks.
Well, NASCAR should really be commended for looking at the challenges that it faces as a sport. So you've done a great job of getting us through that, and we've had a really good couple of past seasons. But I'd like to ask you, what are you doing to attract a multicultural audience?
Yeah, so what we're really focused on is trying to bring in a younger fan base as well as a multicultural fan base. And the focus area is really in Hispanics. Obviously, Hispanics from a marketing perspective is important. Huge growth in their population, a lot of buying power, but probably on the softer side, it's more important that Hispanics like racing. They like a lot that we have to offer, patriotism. They don't understand stock car racing, so we need to do a lot of education. They love the family experience about our sport. So we made a deliberate effort this year to really invite the Hispanic audience to our tracks. We had our first ever live broadcast of the Daytona 500. We have all new digital channels, .com, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, specifically tailored for content to that audience. We did an in-market activation with the Mexico Series, which title sponsor is Toyota, in Phoenix. So we brought our Hispanic drivers from the Mexico Series to the Phoenix market, and really just reached out to the media community because they're very important in getting our message out. And that audience has reacted better than we ever could have hoped. In fact, our viewership with our Hispanic audience amazed us. It was up 40% this year, which is absolutely amazing. And viewership of Hispanic viewers was almost 90% for our chase. So off to a good start, a lot to do, but again, just trying to make sure that the sport grows, and that's really important to a lot of our sponsors who are in the room today.
Well, technology is so important in any business today, and certainly in sports, and no other sport really has that technological sexiness like NASCAR does. And part of that technology is the use of social media today, and 3 of our drivers on the panel are very active with social media, one in particular, Michael Waltrip. I'd like to get your take on how you've seen the sport change and your interaction with the fans as a result of social media like Twitter.
Well, I've been around this sport since the 80s, and I've seen over the last 5 years the garage diversify more than ever. There's so many cultures represented when we go to the races now. It means a lot to me when a little African-American kid or a Hispanic kid comes up and wants my autograph. That's something that didn't happen in the 80s, and so I know it's real, it's growing, and it's happening. And a way to connect to those folks is through Twitter or Facebook or Instagram, and it was a tool that we didn't have back then. And so I made the conscious decision to try to do all I could to engage the fans, talk to them about their concerns, talk to them about the things they like, and just in general engage them so that they have more interest in what's going on at Michael Waltrip Racing. when they hear my name, they think, oh, that dude I follow him on Twitter. I know what he's all about. And that's a part of it, and that's a huge part of it. But my favorite part about fan engagement is using Twitter and Instagram and those apps to engage fans face to face. You know, you walk out in the infield or around the racetracks and you shake hands, and it makes it real. And that's something that I think NASCAR does better than any other sport. Our stars, David, Ryan, are out among the folks that follow on Twitter. So it's not like we're these stars that no one ever gets to see or touch. We're here, we're with them, and we just use Twitter to help engage that society that's out there.
Well, it really helps fans get to know everyone on a personal level. And I'm curious if you can change a Twitter hat, so to speak, when you're a driver, when you're a team owner, and also when you're a media person. Do you have a different perspective of Twitter from those three perspectives?
Well, a lot of people think that I can drive in the HOV lane alone because there's so many mics in here. Obviously, there's times when I am totally a team owner, a driver, or just a guy on TV talking about the action I'm seeing, sharing it with the fans. There's certainly different times for different mics to show up, but I think in general on Twitter, you know what your goal is, and your goal is to grow the sport. I want more people to like Michael Waltrip Racing, but I want more people to love NASCAR. I want more people to tune in on Sunday afternoons and watch the broadcast so they can see David or Ryan or my car run up front. It's all about engaging the fan and using any tool or app, as the world we live in today, that we can in order to accomplish that.
And I'd like to carry that question over to Ryan and to David as well, in that we follow your wife, Ryan, and she keeps us updated with what's happening from your charities to your personal life. We see photos of your children. David, we're a part of your life when you're proposing to your girlfriend. So talk a little bit about how the evolution of Twitter has kind of changed as you've grown with the sport.
Well, I think just in the last few years, I've seen a little change, so I can certainly imagine what Michael's seen in a long time. But, I'm a big fan of the sport of NASCAR, a big fan of the sport of auto racing myself, and I think that it's important to give the fans some behind-the-scene things that are going on and get a feel who we are as an individual. You can turn on any sports broadcast, you can turn on the TV networks and watch the big races on Sunday, and you're full of information on who's leading, who's running the fastest laps, your pit stops, the point standings, but they want to know what goes on Monday through Thursday, Monday through Friday. What's Ryan's favorite fishing hole? Maybe where you go on vacation. And there certainly has to be a point where you draw that line. Some drivers draw it a little sooner than others, but they want to know your personal life. What kind of pets do you have? Yeah, what's going on in your family? Your wife, your kids, your parents. So I think that connection that our fans have with our drivers, our crew chiefs, our team owners, that makes our fans the number one out of any of the major league sports that you have, because we have that interaction. Events like we have today where the fans can come and mingle with us and take pictures, and a lot of these guys I've talked to, they drove from a couple hours, several hours away to come. I don't think you would have that kind of engagement in other series. So we're very fortunate that NASCAR's kind of set the tone over the years that allows the fans, the drivers, the people that are kind of in the trenches working, that makes the sport go around to have that personal connection, and that's important. I've had a good time getting to know a lot of them, and you become friends with them over the years. You start that relationship and you see them 4 or 5 times a season at different racetracks, and then you finally get to know them, you get to know their family, and you definitely make friends with one another.
And you, Ryan?
Same thing. Long story short, I'm sitting watching TV last night, and my wife, she's over there on her phone, and she says, I guess David Ragan and his wife were having a girl, and she learned that from Twitter. So just things like that just kind of open up our lives to each other, and obviously to the fans, and that personal touch, as they said, that makes a world of difference. I mean, I really don't have per se a fan club anymore like Michael had a fan club in '92. I mean, those fan clubs aren't what they used to be. It's Twitter, it's social, it's all about those types of things that are instant. It's at your fingertips, it's on your phone. I was sitting watching the fire crackle and a little bit of TV last night, and my wife says, where's my phone charger? And I said, seriously, you've got a brand new phone and a Mophie, and you killed that thing in one day, and it's just the way it is. I mean, she's over there nuking the battery out of her phone to be up to date with everything, and that's important for us as a driver or a driver's wife, and to be able to correlate to the fans. And from a technology side, when we all started, if there was a team in the garage that had 2 computers, they were really the team to beat. And there might have been 3 guys that knew how to operate those 2 computers, but they were the team to beat. And now you go to a test, and there's 15 computers per team, not per organization, per team. Sitting on a desk to log information, and there's literally more data that we collect than we can actually go through physically to make our race cars go faster. So that technology is there in every aspect of what we do, and it really all kind of starts from the phone.
And speaking from a race fan's perspective, because I am a race fan, I love knowing about your families, your dogs, what you guys do outside of the racetrack, because it brings me connected into your lives as well. So my boss is very active on Twitter. So I'd like to talk to Roger a little bit about tweeting, Facebook, Instagram. Everything's great, but it really means nothing if we can't have also that connectivity at the track where people can share those experiences.
Yeah, I had someone the other day, I was at a technological seminar or something was going on, and I thought one of the speakers said something great, that people's still the killer app. And it really is. I mean, you can do all this stuff with technology, which we are. We were the first track in NASCAR to have Wi-Fi for the fans last year. We were blessed to have that test, and now our parent company, International Speedway Corporation, is going to introduce by 2015 at all 12 of our tracks a multimedia race day experience. It'll be 4G, HD screens, the connectivity, the Wi-Fi. So I'm very, very excited about that. But you can't get so caught up in the technology that you don't know what to do with it. And these guys have said it. It's about engagement. To some degree, it will be technology, particularly with new fans. How can we use that technology to teach new NASCAR fans, particularly their first time to the racetrack? Because we've seen a lot of that at NAIAS, and I know they have at other tracks. But what's some of the things, like what's a lucky dog? Some of them don't even know the nomenclature, how to read the leaderboard. So they get really jazzed up and excited, but after a few laps, they're wanting to understand, well, I know what a double play is. I know what a power play is in hockey. I've got that stuff down, but what does it mean to take 2 tires versus 4 tires? So how can we utilize this technology to help new fans and to help old fans understand the sport even better and have rich content? But again, I go back to that human connection. And Michael's one, he goes out in our campgrounds. I go out in the campgrounds, visit with fans, connect with them. It used to be that guest services was a department at a racetrack. Now guest relations is our business. That's what we do. And as much as we're still a sports facility hosting NASCAR, I think we treat ourselves a lot more like Disney. And it's about the fan experience, whatever they're doing there, and making sure that they have from doorstep to doorstep a great experience. And so combining equally that technology along with the human connection, I think is really important for our sport. And I'm really excited about what our parent company ISC's done, what they're doing with investments. I mean, for us, we've invested about $85 million the last 5 years. You look at what they're doing in Daytona, that's going to be a whole new track at the World Center of Racing, $400 million remake, and that's all based around the fans. So I'm excited. I see what our sport has done the last couple of years. I'm even more excited about where it's going in the next few and what it's going to mean for fan engagement.
Well, Kim started with touching on the digital side. The drivers have brought that human element to it. You have brought up the fan engagement portion as well. I'd like to ask Gene, how do we deliver that digital experience to those watching at home?
Yeah, we've talked a lot here about the new way, the Instagrams and the tweets and all that, but there's one thing that I think that we are special. Our sport, our ambassadors, our drivers, Michael, David, Ryan, they shake hands with people, and I hope we never lose that. I think that's a big competitive advantage, looking a person in the eye, shaking their hand, tapping them on the back, and thanking them for coming. So we need to march on with the electronic world, but this is something, I think, one of the sports where people can get close to the athletes and make an interaction and really feel good about the sport.